His lips formed the final word of the incantation. A burst of brilliant green light shot from the wand, tearing through the darkness. The woman in the cage let out a scream, and a blinding flash filled everything around. He woke with a start, jolting as though struck by lightning. His hand shot up to frantically unfasten the top button of his shirt, gasping for air as if he'd been suffocating. His trembling hands found his temples, and he began to massage them, trying to ease the piercing pain in his head. The room around him blurred and tilted, and it took a moment before he could make sense of his surroundings. Draco forced himself to focus, grounding himself in the sensations of his body. The smooth surface of the lacquered desk beneath his arms, the dull ache in his back from falling asleep hunched over. Slowly, he sat upright. His spine protested with a sharp twinge, and he winced as his eyes took in the disarray of his desk. Pale morning light seeped through the half-drawn curtains, casting faint shapes in the shadows of his office. Documents lay scattered across the desk, an unfinished letter abandoned mid-sentence, and a bottle of fire whiskey, empty, glinted weakly in the sunlight.
Here again,
he rasped, his voice rough from sleep. The realization dawned that he had passed out in his ministry office once more. The weight of exhaustion and frustration pressed down on him as he dropped his head onto the desk. The cool surface of the wood was soothing against his fevered forehead, a fleeting relief from the throbbing in his skull. For a moment, he allowed himself the indulgence of stillness, shutting his eyes and softening his rigid shoulders. The coldness seeped into his skin, easing the rhythmic pulsing in his temples. Then she came back, the woman from his nightmare, the one in the cage, her desperate hands gripping the bars, her raw voice pleading for help, her shoulders slumped in defeat. Draco's fists clenched until his nails dug into his palms. The memory set fire to his blood. His rage spilled over as he slammed his fists against the desk, sending a jolt of pain through his hands, but the sting only fueled his fury. His gaze landed on the empty bottle of fire whiskey. Without hesitating, he snatched it up and hurled it across the room with a primal yell. The bottle shattered on the wall, glass cascading to the floor in a sharp tinkling rain. Silence followed, heavy and suffocating. The air seemed to thrum with the remnants of his anger, and the flames of his temper ebbed away. His heart gradually slowed, but a knock at the door froze him in place. His first thought was to ignore it, but the knocking came again, more insistent this time. A woman's concerned voice called out from the other side.
Mr. Malfoy, are you all right in there?
He had forgotten the silencing charm.